This message came to you from the future where you're winning big time at everything you're building today. You look very happy and excited, not because you won and everything finally worked out, but because you're so proud of yourself that you've decided to walk your truth and follow your gut. You're finally realizing how powerful your determination is, and that it truly moves mountains when you believe in yourself. You see yourself as a one big miracle. So wherever you are right now, at this point, watching this, I just want you to know where you're going. You know that one day you will look back on this moment right now, and you will be surprised because after this day, so many unexpected, unknown events took place that brought you exactly to where you always wanted to be. So know that it's okay if things don't make sense. And it's okay if your life is still one big project where not many things seems to work out. At least you've started somewhere. And if you don't stop at some point, you will be amazed at how events in your life turned out. So you see, one big breakthrough happened in your life. When you've stopped worrying, when you've decided there is no reason to worry. Before you started winning in your life, you've noticed at some point you've stopped worrying because you've recognized, well, you will find a way. You always find a way. There's no reason to be scared of how things will turn out because eventually you always find a way. Like, there's always this inner native intelligence that at some point speaks to you and says, do this thing and call that person and say no to this meaningless event so you can really invest more of yourself into this project that seems important to you. Deep inside you feel there's something big emerging out of it, but you're not working enough on it. Like, you're not investing enough time for it. You're being distracted. So part of your worry was because you've been investing too much time into meaningless things. So you've cut the distractions and focused on what truly mattered to you. That was one of the biggest first breakthroughs that started your journey towards more winning. But then you've also noticed when you've started setting boundaries in your life and you've started really working on this big project, this thing that really resonates with you, some people started looking at you like, what's wrong with you? Like, why you're working so hard on this? Why you're constantly thinking about this? Why you're so obsessed about this? Why you're so focused at this? And some people started moving away from you. You've started losing people. But another realization happened in your life when you've noticed that you have to lose certain people so you would not lose yourself staying with them. Sometimes it's healthier to let go than to staying attached to what is downgrading your potential. So you've noticed there is a bigger plan, even though you're not aware of it. But you kinda felt that even when you don't know what to do, the right thing happens at the right time. Even when you think you're missing out on something, you're just getting prepared. Maybe you're building skills. Maybe you're rejuvenating. Maybe you're taking time for clarity. Maybe you're writing down your plans. Maybe you're kind of scheduling everything that you want to work on so you would not be so distracted with everything that's happening in your life. You would kind of build some discipline. So at some point you've started building discipline because you've noticed, well, if you truly don't devote yourself to what matters, you will spend too much time with what doesn't matter, and eventually you will become someone that you don't want to be. So you've recognized there's a vision. You've seen a vision of yourself. You've seen a version of yourself in your mind's eye, and you felt it in your heart. You felt, this is my future self. And as this message is coming to you from your future, it's like your future self would be speaking to you, saying to you, you know what you have to do. Stop overthinking it, because it's not hidden in your mind. It was always in your heart. It was that gut feeling. You know, as you've come to the realization that there is a bigger plan, that you may not notice it right now, it speaks to you through your gut, through synchronicities, and through words you hear that really resonate with your whole being. So your future speaks to you through your gut, through synchronistic events and words that really resonate with your whole being. At some point in your life, you've noticed that your gut feeling urging you to take care, or to maybe take that unexpected job that may be offering a bigger plan, guiding you to a new career, or maybe just meeting with new people that will introduce you to something new. You never know, but you had that feeling. And then there are synchronistic events like running into an old friend just when you need an advice, or maybe signals from words, for example, that deeply resonate with you, as they could be subtle whispers of a greater plan revealing itself in the messages around you that are only navigating you into the future where you're already winning. That future lives within you right now as a potential, but in that future you're already winning, looking back, reflecting out of gratitude that you've started. So wherever you are right now, just know where you're going. This is a very sacred mission of yours. Most probably not many people know about it, and it's okay to stay that. It's much better if it stays as a secret until you will be able to show some results, because some people will just not understand it. But what matters is that you have clarity around it. So as you've been walking through the journey until now, you've recognized that so many things don't make sense, but still the right events unfold at the right time. This is the mystical magic of life that happens out of the unknown. You see, the universe wants you to be surprised, to be open for unexpected surprises. So at some point of your journey walking towards that future, you've learned to open up, not being so attached to the predictable future. So you've recognized, in order to truly be surprised by life, I should stop predicting how it may happen. So you've learned that it's better to have a goal than to know how this goal will come to you, how this event will turn out. So at some point you've started setting big goals for yourself, and you've invested some time into creative thinking, constructive thinking, for designing plans and visualizing, using all of your senses to see, to feel, to smell, to taste that future you're walking towards, only to get a sense of how it may feel like once it happens, to be sure that this is the right thing you're working on, that this is the right mountain you're climbing. And as you were doing that, you were not then asking like how it should happen. You've learned that, well, if you really want to be surprised, you need to focus on the joy of doing it, right? So you've recognized there are certain things you really want to do. There are certain opportunities that are opening for you. And there's a certain amount of action you need to invest. So you've asked yourself, like, what I really want to do, and a sense of joy awakened within you. It was so beautiful to see you then, because suddenly you've started really doing something that you love to do. You've started following your inner bliss. You've recognized so many times I felt that, but I've distracted myself because I was not serious enough about it. I was not devoted to it. I was not truthful towards myself, but now I'm ready. So you've recognized there are seasons in life. Like sometimes your gut speaks louder to you, and then there are times when you are doing other things, learning about other aspects of yourself. But the season came when you needed to initiate the action, like turn on that plan so it can turn into a path, an unknown path, not knowing truly how things will work out. But you've started anyway. You felt this deep desire, this deep feeling that it is the thing, this is the thing, not knowing how it will work out. But that's when you've discovered the magic of creation. You've recognized it's in your heart. You've learned that your heart center is a center of creative act that establishes a connection between you and this unified field of creation. And when it's activated and guided by intention, the field will respond and brought to you new events and synchronicities that will surprise you when you least expect. So you've learned every time you do what you're joyful about, every time you take time to do what you're passionate about, every time you devote yourself into something you believe in, and you start making progress with it, you've recognized consistency must take place. I need to invest every single day into it. You've recognized every time you're doing it, you kind of lose yourself in it. So more you're losing yourself in it, you're leaving your old self behind and you're becoming someone else. So along your journey towards the future where I'm speaking from, you've learned that you needed to separate from your old self. Like you've left your old self behind and you became someone else. You became partially more of who you always wanted to be. You've started really shaping your mental garden. The way that when you look around you, you see more of the things you really want to see. You're really happy about seeing them. You've started accepting more. You've started judging less. You've stopped gossiping so much. You've recognized it's not healthy for my garden. You've recognized, well, to overcome the fear of being judged, I need to stop judging others. This was such an interesting realization for you because you've recognized that if you really don't want to sense this fear of being judged, you need to stop judging others. So you found a trick. You found a mental trick that helped you there. You've started seeing what's interesting about others. And it created a whole shift in your beingness because suddenly you became curious about others. Before you were judging them, now you became curious about them. And it made a whole change in your emotional system. You became quite more compassionate towards others. You became quite more kind and also empathic towards others in a good sense. Like you knew where are boundaries, but you found out that when you're curious about others, you may know their struggles better. You may feel them from a deeper sense of intelligence, like we all go through something. And it helped you along your journey because you've recognized that one day you will be able to help those in need, especially those who are going through something you've been through. So you've recognized there's a miracle in each struggle because at some point when you overcome the struggle, you want to help those who are still struggling. And that is the miracle of overcoming the struggle, helping those in need. And this was just another realization. So suddenly you've noticed that there's a compounding effect happening of realizations, understandings, epiphany moments, and breakthroughs. More and more good events started happening in your life as you've started noticing more and more good stuff about yourself. So you've recognized that since the time you've decided to leave the old self behind and you've really embodied this passionate, driven, organized, intuitive, loving version of yourself, synchronicity started happening like crazy. Firstly, you've started seeing numbers all over the place and things like that, and you were firstly wondering like, what does it all mean? Then you've stopped wondering because you've noticed there's too many of them. So you've started looking at them as science of energy alignment. You've recognized every time you feel aligned, you see these things. So you've started believing that when you feel aligned, the field speaks to you, the universe speaks to you. So you've started finding the pattern, what puts you into a state of alignment, and suddenly you became quite good at it. You've kind of mastered this state of alignment, and when you did that, even more great things started happening to you. Suddenly you started to feel like you're just one big miracle. Like manifestation became easy to you. You've started winning big things. All the things you ever wanted slowly started coming to you. Firstly in small amounts, just glimpses, just to give you a sense that actually it works. And some of them disappeared for some time, just to test your trust, to test your capabilities of surrendering, of knowing that you got this. And then they came back to you in bigger amounts and bigger amounts to test you how will you handle them. And many of them you handled them miserably. You had no idea how to handle everything. There was so much of good stuff, so you needed to learn also that. So we've learned the dark side of manifestation, all the, the polar opposite of all the good stuff. But eventually you've also learned to handle that, and it only led you into a deeper understanding of yourself. When you've started feeling like everything is just becoming a one big dream, you've recognized, I just don't feel much differently now when I have all this stuff. But what's different is that I feel much lighter within myself. So maybe it was really not about all of that. But this ability of surrendering the worries and finding that deep trust. Because every time I trust, I feel one with everything. I feel like there is no need to know if you don't know. It's to trust that knowing will come. There is no need to worry how things will happen, because at the right time everything will take place. And then when you've noticed that everything took place and everything happened as everything you ever wanted, and you felt like you're really winning in everything, you felt humble because you've noticed that more your inner world was changing and aligning and purifying, more your outer world was manifesting, shifting, and becoming more abundant. So all along, you've been only noticing that you're becoming more and more and more and more whole, complete, united with oneness once again. At some point you've remembered that this is who you are, and that was your biggest win, coming back to wholeness, oneness, unity with life. That was your biggest win. And that's from where I'm speaking to you today. the place where you found your wholeness once again. I hope you've enjoyed in today's message, my friends. I hope you've enjoyed in today's painting as well. The journey. The name of the painting today is The Journey. A guy who walks on this path of galaxy towards the sun. The sun obviously represents this awakening of understanding, the great remembrance of who we are, which happens because of the journey, right? It's not because we just sit somewhere and meditate. Of course, it is also because we meditate and find clarity. And then we walk the path and we meditate and we walk the path and we, move through struggles and move through sadness and move through failures and breakdowns and all of that. And we find a way out, only so we learn that eventually everything works out. And the life is truly our greatest teacher. So that's what this painting represents. And to anyone who would like to get a copy of it or any of my other paintings, go and check out our store, AttractPassion.com, where you can find all of my art. And to anyone who would love to work with me one-on-one, you can book a calling on the link in the description of this video. So I'm excited to meet you. Check it out, and till next time, one love.